Iran must end its nuclear crisis for transition to democracy. The Iranians and millions of people across the globe are preparing to welcome Nowruz, the Persian New Year, on the 21st of March, to celebrate the arrival of the spring and face a new year ahead with the hopes of prosperity, peace, and happiness for all. In Iran, however, the occasion has found even deeper importance since the establishment of the despotic Islamic Republic regime in the country 35 years ago. As the nation's aspirations for freedom and a better future have been stifled by the ruling regime's repressive domestic policies year after year. Furthermore, the radical religious ideology that the Islamic Republic leaders have followed towards Iran's neighbors has become the root cause of many of the calamities that the Middle Eastern region is currently facing. As the negotiations between Iran and the world powers to end crisis over Tehran regime's nuclear program reach a climax in the coming days, one can only hope that this year's Nowruz will be the beginning of a new era for the nation to celebrate its return to the international community after decades of isolation and devastating economic sanctions. However, given the nature of the ruling establishment in Iran, where the medieval powers of its religious supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei can overrule the wishes of the people, uncertainties still remain, as he has on more than one occasion shown his opposition to the decade-long negotiations. The issue becomes even more cause for concern as Iran's political factions are engaged in an intensive rivalry as to who should succeed Khamenei when he leaves the stage. Suffering from prostate cancer, as widely reported in national and international media, Khamenei is effectively a political hostage to the whims of Iran's hardliners and the top brass of the Revolutionary Guard. This week's election of the ultra-conservative 84-year-old Ayatollah Yazdi as the chairman of Iran's Assembly of Experts is an indication that the hardliners in the country are still a major obstacle to the nation's peaceful translation to democracy and the rule of law. The powerful religious body is tasked with choosing the next supreme leader, vetting legislatives and presidential candidates, supervising elections and approving the bills passed by the Iranian Majlis, the very political domains that President Rouhani's government must reform to fulfill his election promises. The self-declared reformist Rouhani has made the removal of the economic sanctions on Iran through a final deal on its nuclear program the main priority of his presidency. However, it is now clear that President Obama's administration has taken over the role of conducting the negotiations that aim to arrive at a deal, effectively establishing a certain diplomatic link with Tehran in the process. The development has presented the Iranian leadership with a dilemma. For decades, the clerical regime has sought its legitimacy at home and abroad from its anti-Americanism. As such, the rapprochement with the US is seen by Iran's hardliners as a capitulation and abandoning the principles of the Islamic Revolution, thereby undermining the regime's so-called revolutionary stance in the Islamic world. At the same time, the open letter by 47 Senate Republicans to Iran's leadership that threatens the annulment of any nuclear deal between Washington and Tehran once President Obama leaves office can further be played into the hands of Iran's hardliners who are bent on derailing any agreement that gives Rouhani an upper hand over his conservative opponents. However, although the prospect of a final nuclear deal still hangs in suspension, the Iranian people remain hopeful that the spirit of message and Nowruz will prevail in their new year and not disrupted by those who want to impose their short-sighted personal interests over the wishes of an historic nation of 80 million people for democracy and progress. Behruz Behboudi, Vancouver, 12th of March 2015.